Good morning. I'm writing a book about celibacy, and I can't talk about my celibacy without talking about trauma, because that's where my celibacy was born from, was needing to process trauma that I went through. So I am really looking at this complex issue of sexual trauma and where the beginning happens. And sometimes it's about communication. Sometimes it's about freezing and fawning trauma responses. Instead of fight or flight, freeze and fawn can come into the picture. And at that point, it's mixed signals for people, and you can't really say that that's an assault at that point. So this is me looking at trauma responses in relation to certain events in my life, looking at culpability, ignorance, and all these other factors that can play into my particular type of situation. My situation, not the same as your situation. Everybody's situations were different. Everybody has different stories about assault, but it's really funny because there is a lot of assault that has happened. I don't know a single woman that hasn't been assaulted in some kind of way. So everybody handles things differently. Even men can be sexually traumatized, and this can either go into being a prude, or it can be or it can go into being hypersexual. People wear their traumas differently. So I'm trying to really take a step back at how these things, in my case, there are some things that I can see clearly in hindsight that were a car losing its brakes at the top of the hill. And had I had the vocabulary, had I not been inundated with brainwashing from the Institute of Basic Life Principles, classes that my mom forced me to go to as a fundamental Christian, if I hadn't been brainwashed, I probably would have been able to stand up for myself in certain ways. But I'm really, really trying to write this book from a place of not just fairness, but understanding about how fucked up society truly is. And I'm sorry if this, you needed a trigger warning before watching this. I needed a trigger warning before I lived this stuff. I have sat with this stuff on my chest, buried deep as a 12th houser with 8th house Capricorn, Neptune and Capricorn, square my sun. So here's astrology aside, all right? I've buried a lot out of respect for trying not to demonize somebody that was growing up alongside me. But I can't stay silent either. So I'm working on this book with interest to not unfairly speak on the person that still has life to live and is probably making different decisions with his life now. So this is going to be a very difficult book for me to write, but I really, really want it to be enlightening and healing for the people that read it. I have felt like for years that what I went through couldn't be spoken about because it happened within the confines of a relationship, and there's so many shades of experiences, and it's complicated. It can be very complicated with how these things can unfold in your life. But I think now's the time, and this book will come from some of the darkest places in my psyche, and I believe that the deeper I go for you to share my experiences, the more you'll feel seen. That's my intention. So we're digging deep. Me and all my Gemini. Anyway. I haven't sat and really talked for a minute, and I thought it'd be a good time. So I'm a minister, I'm a tarot card reader, and I am a spiritual advisor who's been through a lot. Sometimes the work I do is ugly. Oftentimes I get clients that need to talk to me about their traumas, and they're doing it privately, but they've felt all this shame and guilt and stuff that they need to unfold with. That's what I'm here for. And I'm talking to you if you're one of them. I've been through this shit myself. And if you're on a healing path, trying to take responsibility radically for everything that you feel and every action that you take from here on out, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. That's all I'm really basically saying. But hopefully this book that's on the way will be well received by those like us. It's for you guys. If you want my other books, you can go onto my Stan Store link. It's in my bio. Love you guys.